Hey Hooper, it's Deanne Love here, and in this tutorial I am going to share with you 3 moves that you can do while you're indoors, either because you're learning hooping and it's a little chilly outside, or perhaps it's 2020 and you've been asked to stay inside for safety reasons. Whatever the reason, I'm in a tiny space. If you're in a tiny space too, you're going to love this tutorial. And stick around to the end, because after I teach you the 3 tricks, then I'm going to give you variations on each of them to make them a little bit more challenging and fun. I'm using a 90 centimeter Poly Pro, but you can use any hoop that you have. If it's smaller, it will go faster. If it is bigger, it will go slower. If it's far too heavy and causing you bruising, then I suggest that you grab yourself a different hoop. All right, so the first trick that we're going to learn is called the Whirlpool. Well, I call it the Whirlpool. Some people might call it something different, and it looks like this. It's kind of magical. It's like swirling or stirring the cauldron. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our hoop out in front of us with our knuckles up and wrap your fingers on the inside. And what I want you to do is just make sure that you have enough space. So you're going to need to bend your knees and stick your booty out a little bit, but support your lower back. Reach your arm out in front and just do 1 circle on your fingers and catch. Now, I like to spread my fingers out and point them down towards the earth, and there's a little bit of a contact situation going on, like there is with most hoop tricks, is that you need enough momentum that it's not too speedy and fast, but that it won't just drop down to the floor. It doesn't have to be flat. So that's a really important tip. It doesn't have to be flat, because as we know, if you want your hoop to spin flat on any part of your body, then it needs to go on the horizontal, then it needs to go really fast. But this is not a super, or it doesn't have to be a super fast trick. And you can go in both directions. And of course, in both hands. So if you find that the hoop is crashing into you, it just means that you're not reaching out, or perhaps you have a really giant hoop, so you might want to change hoop size if that's available to you. Or if it's crashing into you, you might find that when you do let go, you bring your arm, bend your arm in. But what you want to do is reach out. So extend through the fingers. And then after you do 1 or 2 circles, you can start making little stirring motions with your arms. But don't worry if in the beginning it kind of just drops off, that's okay. Give yourself 10 goes, 100 goes, 1,000 goes. Enjoy the process. Both hands, then you might want to start swapping hands. That might feel good to you. And in a little while, I'm going to teach you how to do some Whirlpool breaks. So give that one a go. Reach out. You can also bring different shapes into your body, whatever works for you. Both hands, both directions. All right, how's that feeling? That's the first trick that you can do in a tiny space. There are hundreds of them, but in this tutorial, we're just going to do 3. Right, the second one is a hand spin. And you may have learned this if you've done my 28-day beginners pack on learn.hooplovers.tv or on any of my YouTube tutorials for beginners. The hand spin is a pretty important one. So here are the things to remember: that knuckles up. Hoop is like a window in front of you. You're going to let the momentum of the hoop drop, and then it's like you're shaking hands. So your thumb is up, your fingers out, your elbow in. And we create this structure, and then we create the rhythm by pulsing up and down with the hand. Now, anytime you feel like you're chasing it or it's going flying all over the place, watch your valuables if you're hooping inside and start to relax into this rhythm. Just a slight up down if you're watching my hand here. Notice if you're trying to turn or grab, and if you want to, you can press palms together. This can feel really tricky in the beginning, so don't worry if you don't get it straight away. It might look simple, but a lot of people end up with the hoop on their elbow. No, your wrist, not your elbow. We're going to do elbow hooping in a minute, actually. I'm jumping ahead of myself. And the reason why it goes onto your wrist or onto your forearm is because your thumb is not up. So you can just grab your hoop, start again, chest open, shoulders back. Let the weight of the hoop do the work. And you notice that there's the same space between me and the hoop. And in the beginning, this can feel, if you're totally new to this, this can feel a little bit intimidating because you have a hoop swirling in front of your face. But after a while, you'll start to get used to it. And towards the end, we've got one more trick to do. I'm going to show you a variation of the hand spin. Okay, so we've got the Whirlpool, the hand spin, and there's no need to rush if you need to pause this tutorial and practice, or practice after this many, many times. I will say with the hand spin, if you start to get little bruises, it is common, and it's just a sign to give yourself a rest, that you've been doing a lot, and you can practice some of the other tricks like this next one. This next one is, watch out for all of your valuables. I'm in a tiny space too, so we're in this together. This next one is elbow hooping. Okay, you may want to practice this outside, but if you're feeling pretty secure and pretty good, you can do this indoors. It doesn't take up too much space. And here are the tips. So, elbow hooping, as the name suggests, it's when you are hooping kind of on your elbow, but not quite. So your elbow is going to be sticking out from your shoulder. And so let's get the form correct. First of all, you're going to end up with your thumb towards the front of your shoulder, your elbow in line with the top of your shoulder or thereabouts, and that's going to be your elbow hooping position. Anytime you go up or down, of course the hoop's going to fly away. You'll probably want to, your instinct will be to take your hoop up or down, but my biggest tip for elbow hooping is have a little pulse up and down in the arm and then bounce with your knees and try not to get too much wing flapping going. Okay, so how do we get there? From the hand spin to elbow hooping like that. So once you're feeling pretty good with the hoop on your hand, or it's jumped up to your wrist and you're like, oh, what am I going to do now? You can actually put your other hand in and stop it, or you can put your fingers in and stop it, or just grab that hoop. But if you're like, no, I'm going to try a new trick, I'm going to transition to something else, what you want to do is make little circles. And you can notice my hoop is going backwards, so I'm making little circles backwards. If I keep making those little circles, or they go a little bit bigger, it will go all the way up to my shoulder. So give that a crack, see how that feels for you. So spinning on the hand, now it's going to be on your side, so you want to turn away from it, and little circles until the hoop gets between your elbow and your shoulder. And that's where the sweet spot is. When you get the hoop between your elbow and your shoulder, what you want to do is stop the circles, because the circling is bringing the hoop closer to your body, and you want to start the bounce up and down. Now, in the beginning, this can be really taxing on your arm. You're like, whoo, this is a workout. I better do it on the other side too. So what you want to do is just give yourself little by little a practice of stamina, building up to this. Now, here we go. In this stage is arm hooping, but we want to start elbow hooping. So this is a pretty cool coordination station. So what's going to happen? Little circles until you get it to between your elbow and your shoulder. Then we bounce up and down. Now see this big gap that opens up. When I see that gap, and I like to count or chant like now, 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 or 1, 2, 3, go. And on go, I'm going to bring my thumb to my shoulder. Now that can be quite, it might feel like your muscles have had a real workout. So just do it little by little and try on both sides. In fact, you can do that with 2 hoops if you like. Again, if you are getting bruising because this is new to you, then just give yourself a rest and don't hoop on bruises. So we've done hand spin, whirlpool, and elbow hooping. Now we're going to do the variation, which is breaks. So we're going to do whirlpool breaks, and a break is simply when we stop the direction of the hoop and we send it in the other direction. So we are going to do whirlpool breaks, spin breaks, and elbow hooping breaks. Are you ready? How are you feeling? Do you need a break? No. All right, so in your small space, in your tiny space, you've got your hoop that's feeling good. You're feeling nice and warmed up and ready. Let's start with the whirlpool breaks. This is one of my favorites. So going back to the whirlpool. If you notice, if you watch your hoop, remember, we bend at the knees and we stick the booty out, so we've got lots of space. We reach out, elongate through the arm, open up through the armpit. And when you've got that momentum, when you can keep circling, if the hoop is going around to the left, we're going to squeeze the hoop and we're going to send it to the right. Okay, this is a basic break where we just simply squeeze and stop. Squeeze and stop and send it in the opposite direction. But if we wanted to bring a little bit more of our own style into it, which of course I always encourage, is if the hoop is going around to the left, you squeeze and stop, and you can bounce it on the side of your belly, or maybe on your hip, or maybe on your hand, or maybe on the outside of your arm. So whirlpool, break, and now you're going in the opposite direction. Break, opposite direction, break, break, break. And then of course we want to give the other hand some practice and play as well. And this is definitely a move that you can try in a fairly small space. I know if you have lots of valuables, or if you've just got a tiny space in your bedroom, this one might be challenging. But you can do this whirlpool, here's another little tip, on this very angular space. So you can kind of, and the way that I do that is I'm making these bigger circles, but you're really pushing it. It's not going fast. So it's like, I kind of like playing with how slow can I go, how big can I make my circles, and then how droopy can I get my hoop, and then how do I flatten it up. And that's just working with the weight, the timing of your hoop and your body together. So whirlpool breaks. Another tip with that is when I break, I bring the hoop in. However far I bring it in, I have to remember to take it out. Otherwise, it's going to hit me and fall on the floor. So if it comes in close, contract, expand again. Contract, expand again. So let go, hold on. Let go, hold on. Let go, hold on. Beautiful. Okay, number 2 is the hand spin. So we're going to do some spin breaks. And again, you could choose different parts of the body to break the hoop on. So this hoop is on my right hand and it's going over to the right. So I'm going to, again, squeeze my fingers around it to stop the spin of the hoop. But then I need a body part to break the hoop on. So on the outside of my thigh, I simply lift up my knee and engage so that I have some balance. And then I break and send it in the opposite direction. There's going to be really good coordination if you're not yet spinning in both directions. And then I'm going to squeeze again and break on the outside. Squeeze again, break on my booty. Squeeze again, break on my hand. You could practice, if you wanted to do a drill, 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. I remember when I was learning to hoop, chanting or counting really helped me. So don't be in a rush to think that you have to break, break, break in the beginning. Give yourself some time. It may even be 8 beats, and that's totally fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, stop. Totally up to you to get creative. Remember that the structure or the form of your body is everything. That timing and balance, and give yourself time. If you're getting a bit bruised, shake out the hands, and let's try some elbow breaks, which are a really fun challenge. Okay, so remember, little circles until the hoop comes up between your elbow and your shoulder, and never be in a rush to learn this. This may take you a few minutes. This may take you a few days, weeks, months, or years, because everyone's body is different and we're all practicing on our own timeline. Please remember that. Okay, so if you are up to the stage where you've finally mastered elbow hooping, this took me a while. What we're going to do is we're going to break with our hand on the outside and break, send the hoop backwards. Oh, I told you it would be a little bit of a challenge. So I'm going to start with my hoop spinning backwards, little circles until I get to where I want, little pulses in the knee if I need to, if the strength's not quite there, if I'm just feeling a little tired. And then I'm going to bring my thumb in towards my shoulder. Okay, now my hoop is going backwards. So what I want to do is take my arm out and stop it to send it forwards. So I'm going to take my arm out, and when the hoop hits the front of my bicep, I'm going to take my hand on the outside like this, and then I'm going to push it forward. But if I push it forward and everything goes out of alignment, then it's going to be really hard to have that momentum. So it's going backwards and it's a break. So it's a very short, sharp movement, but it can be super gentle. So hand goes out and up and push forwards. Notice the alignment goes straight back into place. And then to send it backwards, Whoop. There we go. Got to use those knees sometimes. Then to send it backwards, I'm going to bring my hand down and catch it and allow the hoop to fall into the palm of my hand. And notice I'm very out of that structured elbow hooping alignment. So I need to make sure that I give it a nice gentle push and go straight back to it. So don't be surprised if you do catch your hoop down here and you send it back and your arm is out. It might take you a little bit of time. Anytime you get drawn into your hoop is going to feel really wonky. So come back into center, feet on the floor, stand up nice and tall, and shoulder hooping, elbow hooping will be yours very soon. Okay, so in this tutorial, we did 6 different moves. Whirlpool, one direction, the other direction, both hands, and hand spin, and elbow hooping. And then we did the breaks. Whirlpool breaks, spin breaks, and elbow breaks. 6 moves that you can try in your tiny space or wherever you like. I hope wherever you're at that you are staying safe and well, and that you are remembering that your hooping timeline and practice and pace is yours alone. So take as much time or as little time as you need to feel good about these moves in your body. Don't forget to go over to learn.hooplovers.tv if you want to learn in a sequence that really supports you, not just a whole bunch of tutorials, although I love tutorials. I love them so much that I want you to subscribe to this YouTube channel because I've been doing them for years and years and years, and I truly love sharing them with you. Also, you can go and find me on Instagram at DeanneLoveXO. Big hoop love from me to you.